Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz, and today we're going to be doing a garage review of the high score here, which is a Tier 5 premium, collectible, collector's vehicle rather, Tier 5 medium American tank, available for free by completing the login 10 times. Over the course of like 2 weeks, I think it was, and you could get yourself a free Tier 5 American medium. So let's have a look at how it is. As you can see, it is just, from the looks of it, a Sherman, and for the most part, that's what it is. It is just a Sherman. And if we look here, 721 HP, which I have got the improved assembly on, which does increase it by 41, so it's normally got around 680 HP, which compared to the Easy 4 has got 720, compared to, where's my other Shermans, the Sherman 5, why are all of my camos gone? That's got 700, and compared to the regular American Sherman, which I'll have to get up from the tech tree, compared to the regular Sherman, here we go, where is it? There it is, the regular M4, which has got 620, and it's got 650 with the improved, with the upgraded turret. So, yeah, it has got sort of mid-range HP compared to all of the other Shermans, compared to other things like the Panzer IV-G, which has got 680, so it's sort of got the same HP as that. 721, so it's got the same HP as the T-34, so it's got pretty decent HP overall. As for armour, 80 frontal turrets, 60 side, 55 rear, 64 frontal hull, 38 side and rear, which, yeah, compared to the Easy 4, for example, which has got 76, 51, 51, 64, 38, it's got basically the same sort of American armour. However, that frontal turret armour is pretty good compared to the Sherman 5, which has got 76 frontal turret. The Black Prince Matilda, which has got 93, 900, what am I going on about? It has got better frontal turret armor in comparison to KV-1 hull armor, but that's, there's nothing much there. 60 frontal turret, so yeah, it has got a pretty decent turret, and it is rounded, and I do believe that these track links on the side of the turret do act as spaced armor, but this does not. But that's still something. So armor-wise, it's a Sherman, isn't it? 60 side armor though, that's all right. In comparison to sort of like the Easy 4, for example. It's pretty decent compared to the M4. 60 frontal hull. It has basically got the same turret as the stock Sherman, but the upgraded Sherman turret does have slightly more frontal armor, so that is something to be wary of. However, other than that, it's got alright armor. It's still only a medium, still only a Tier 5 medium, so the armor isn't going to be spectacular, but it is still something at least. As for mobility, 31 kilometers per hour average speed, 15.5 power to weight ratio, 40 degrees per second turret, and 42 degrees per second hull reverse, which, again, going back to the Easy 4, the Easy 4 has got 31, basically the same power to weight, basically the same turret, but worse hull traverse, so you have got that going for it. As for the Sherman 5, yeah, 15 power to weight, same turret, better hull, worse average speed. Yeah, it's alright. It is a medium tank after all, and yeah, it's not too bad. It's worse than the T-34, but in comparison to the other Shermans, it's not bad. It's pretty decent, alright mobility for a medium tank at this tier. Something like the Hydrostat will outclass it because it is a faster medium tank, compared to the 4G, which has got, yeah, again, better power to weight, better hull, better turret. So it's not the most mobile at this tier. for a medium tank, but out of the Shermans, it's alright. Once again, I can only say it's alright. As for the gun, however, the gun is the 105. Now, we know that all of the howitzers were taken away from tanks, I don't know, 2-3 years ago from Blitz, and they've been slowly reintroducing them as just new premium tanks. Looking at the Nightmare, for example, which is basically the Stug howitzer, but as a premium tank. There's also the Panzer IV, which I do not have, which I can't remember the name of, but it is another Halloween-themed tank, which is just a Panzer IV, but with the howitzer on it. And now we have this thing, which is just the Sherman with the howitzer on it. If I could be wrong, but I think there might be a Hetzer with a howitzer as well, but I can't remember. But yeah, this is basically just the howitzer Sherman brought back again, but for free if you can get it. So the stats are not going to be like your typical gun handling. For example, 3.5 second aim time, 0.4 dispersion, which is terrible. 1400 DPM though, nearly 1500, but with an 11-second reload time. That's not too great. It does, however, come with heat as standard, so it has 100, 120, and then 50 with HE, 280, 250, 400 for its damage, 6 degrees of gun depression, which is, I mean, looking at the gun depression angle of this thing, for example, which gets, where are we going? There, gets 10 degrees of gun depression. It also has sort of similar DPM. So yeah, whilst it does lack in rate of fire, it does make up for it in potential damage, especially with the heat, which has got 100 mil across the board. It is better than the Chinukai. It is better than the 4G, which is interesting. It's better than the T34 with the 76. If you run the 57, you will have better DPM. But one last thing, compared to the Sherman 5, 1475. So it's got the same average damage as the Sherman 5. But it has got to be noted though that it does not have AP. There is no sort of AP possibility of this thing. It's all just heat or HE, which means that if you come across something with spaced armor, for example the side of a Nightmare, you're going to do nothing. And if you do come up against something that's heavily armored, for example a Churchill or a KV-1 frontal turret, your HE splash will not likely do all too much. Which is yeah, again something to note. If you are fighting tier 6s, you're going to struggle, especially with that 100/120 mils of frontal pen. I mean, whilst it is with heat, it doesn't drop off over time, or at least over distance, unlike AP or APCR. So there's no possibility of that. But going up against something like the front of a Mark IV Churchill, yeah, that's not happening. Going up against the front of a Tiger, for example, again, 100 frontal hull, 100 frontal turret, it's possible, but yeah, again, maybe not. The Thunder, 108 frontal hull, 105 frontal turret, you'd need premium to get through that, otherwise you're just splashing HE. And yeah, so going up against tier 6s, that heat is going to struggle. However, having heat at this tier is pretty interesting because not a lot of tanks do get heat. Obviously, the Nightmare does, but as for other things, yeah, not a lot of other tanks get heat. I'm trying to think of what else has a howitzer. Like basically nothing. KV-1 gets APCR. The Matildas won't. Yeah, basically nothing else at this tier other than other howitzers will get heat. KV-2 gets AP as its premium. Yeah, nothing much here really gets heat. So having heat at this tier is pretty unique. Got to give it that. Although it may not necessarily be the best of the best of ammo. But you know, like I say, heat is interesting. As for consumables, you do get your standard repair, first aid, fire, and then you've got your engine power boost, you've got your adrenaline, and you've got your multi-purpose, so you can go ahead and whack them on as you want. Provisions, you have got your bottle of cola for 3% to crew mastery, you've got your protective kit, which is all that, and then your standard fuel for your 3% engine power and turret reverse, which you can go ahead whack them on. You can only have 2 at a time, it is tier 5. As for ammo, you do carry 36 rounds, which is less than other medium tanks at this tier, but considering the long reload time and the short battle duration of Blitz, you're never going to fire off all of this stuff. So you can go ahead, mix and match those as you want. Carrying around some heat and HE is going to be important. As for equipment, gun rammer, definitely get your DPM up and also your reload time down, because the reload time is the big killer of this thing. Improved modules for the extra track durability, and then coated optics for the extra view range. Because after all, you are a medium tank, so you don't really want the camo net on because you're not a sniper, definitely not with 0.4 accuracy. And then improved modules for the extra track durability. You could go with the defense system, but I always prefer to go with improved modules for the extra track, fuel tank, and ammo rack durability. Slightly decreases your decreases your chance of getting ammo racked, which would not be good. Enhanced gun aim drive, because 3.5 second aim time is still pretty slow. Supercharger would be nice for the shell velocity. Howitzers do have a slower shell velocity, but the minus 50% penetration decrease with distance is pointless, because heat and HE do not lose penetration over distance, unlike AP, APCR, etc., etc. So that bit's pointless. So the increased aiming speed is definitely more useful here. Whilst enhanced armor could be viable here, improved assembly is going to be more important, or more useful rather, for the extra HP. Because the armour of this thing, whilst it's alright compared to Shermans, it's still only a medium tank, and you're not really going to be stopping too many shots unless you're lucky. Engine accelerator increases your power to weight, which gets up to 15.5, otherwise it would be below 14, which would make it pretty slow. Also increases your average speed and your engine power and hold reverse. Which is useful. Refined gun, definitely. You're not going to be doing any shooting on the move with this thing. If you are, you're not going to hit anything, so vert stabs is useless. Refined gun, however, yeah, gets you down from 0.44 to 0.4 accuracy, which is still not good, but it's a start. And then enhanced tracks, again, more durability for the suspension, and I mean, you could always go with toolbox, but enhanced tracks I find is always more useful, and then your choice of what the hell those two things are. So, overall, yeah, it's the 105 Sherman back in the game. Hooray. For people who want the 105 Sherman, here it is. I don't know whether it'll be back. If you didn't get it during its initial run, I don't know when it's going to be back. You could buy days, as it were, in the shop for 500 gold for each day you missed, if you didn't manage to log in 10 consecutive days over that time. But if you did, then you get yourself 105 Sherman. It's pretty decent. It's an alright medium. The heat is a novelty, and the big damage is obviously nice at this tier, when not a lot of things do over 160 average damage. And yeah, it's just an alright overall Sherman tank. There's not much really you can say about it. So yeah, I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.